Praise the Lord. My name is Esther Wambi. I love Christ. I love walking with God and even listening to what God speaks. And I like talking about the family because we are born in a family and every one of us has been born from the family. And the reason why we talk about family is because it is either you are made in the family or you are broken in the family. It is either you stand in the family or you are destroyed in the family. So when we talk about family, we talk about a unit that has been put there by God to really to shape up people to their destiny. So you become what you become, or you are what you are today because of the family you are brought up in, and where you are born, and the things they took you through, and how they shaped you. That is who you are today. And the reason why we are sometimes wanting, and sometimes our things are not just going on well. Saa zingine mambo haiendi, vitu haviendi vizuri, things are not going on well because of the way we were brought up, because of the things we were taken through by our families. And so because of that, we have not gotten into our destiny, or rather our destinies are not properly shaped because of the things we went through. And that's the reason why I talk about families, because we need to look at our families and see how we can ask God to shape our families in such a way that whoever gets out of this family is somebody who has been directed to a destiny that has been so good, or has been made so well. And I've been talking so much about intimacy and the reason why we do not achieve that intimacy. And today I want to just say a few things why how we can achieve that intimacy, because there are so many reasons why we don't achieve intimacy, and there are so many things that can help us to achieve intimacy. But today I want just to look at one or two things that help us in our way of achieving intimacy. When I talk of intimacy, I talk about, when two people can become one. Actually, when the Bible talks of the man shall leave his family, and the woman shall come and be joined to him, and they shall become one flesh. The intention of God, or what God had in mind when you look at the word of God, is that we are able to become one. Actually, when he talks of one, he means exactly that we can do things together, we can think almost the same way, we can be able to agree almost in everything, so that we bring a little heaven down here in our families. And he looked at one person who is called Adam. Na akasema ya kwamba it is not good for this man to be alone, so I'm going to make a helpmate fit for him. So when God was going to make a helpmate fit for him, he was having in mind that this person who will come into Adam's life will be able to fit into the life of Adam, such that Adam will not complain, but Adam will find himself just enjoying the company of this woman. And that is the intention of God right from then up to now. God has always had a good mind and good intentions for families. And he wants us to fit into our husbands, and our husbands to have space for us to get right into it. So sometimes we find that we don't fit in the lives of our men because of the things that happen while we are growing. The things that we see in our parents and the things that they do that makes us to actually somehow find that marriage is not the best thing to do. When God created the world, he said all is good, including the man and the woman and everything about family, all was good. But we have not been able to achieve our intimacy because the enemy, when he came into the world, and this is the devil, he distorted the whole thing, and he started actually distorting the marriage until the marriage did not actually appear good the way God intended. And that is the reason why you find that this man was able to say, it is this woman. When he went hiding together with his wife, and God came in the cool of the day as usual, just to see them and just get to know how they are doing and just have a fellowship with them. When he looked for them, of course God was able to know where they were because he's God. And the fact that, but he wanted them to accept to have a fellowship with him. God will never force his way into our lives. And that's why he was asking, Adam, uko happy? Kwa sababu, fellowship yenye tumekuwa na wewe, the fellowship I've been having with you doesn't seem to really be there today. How come today you are no longer ready for my fellowship? God has always been ready for our fellowship, but sometimes we are not there for him as a family. And sometimes he comes looking for us as a couple and he's like, where are you today? The things we do in our families, the things that we continue doing that makes us not to have intimacy, takes us away from God. Because if we don't agree as a family, if we don't agree as a couple, we cannot be able to go before the Lord. And so, until God, helps us to get this intimacy. And one of the things that should help us to be able to achieve our intimacy is we should be able to adjust, or rather we should be committed to adjusting our lives to be able to fit into each other. Lazima tukubali, we must accept, we must allow ourselves to be able to come into this marriage with that mind that I am going to adjust, I'm going to change to fit, and I'll accept whatever it is, whatever it takes for me to be able to fit in the life of marriage. Do you know there are so many people who come into marriage and they are not so sure what they want in this marriage? They actually do not have in mind what kind of marriage they want. They are not even so sure that they are married to the right person. They are not even so sure that they wanted to get married in the first place. So you find that they have gotten into this marriage through circumstances, and it's the time I said a circumstantial relationship, which has been forced by other factors. There are factors that force people to live together. There are so many factors actually. Some of the factors that force people to live together is that maybe your parents forced you into this marriage, or rather somebody introduced you to someone, and it's like you don't want to disappoint this person, so you get into a marriage with somebody for somebody else's happiness. So there are some marriages that are there because some people want to make others happy. But today I want to tell you, whatever circumstance you got into when you're getting married, whatever circumstance that caused you to marry, be ready to adjust and to change. Every marriage that is existing today, it does not matter how they got there. The fact that you're married to this man, to this woman, accept to change and allow yourself to actually be married. Allow yourself to accept that this is the marriage God has given me. I don't have any other marriage because you are in this marriage. Do not look like you are here trying and trial and error and trying to say that I will see whether it will work or something. No, just get there, sit down. Now ukubali ya kwamba you are a married man, you are a married woman, and you want to make your marriage work. Adjust. Accept to adjust. Allow yourself to adjust, both mentally, psychologically, and even physically. Allow yourself to change. Change everything about yourself and know that now you're a married woman. Know that you are now a married man. Change even the friends that you've been having. Watu wenye umekuwa mwasiliana na wao. Watu wenye umekuwa, the people you have been interacting with, the people that have been your friends. Adjust and accept that now I'm a married person. And the only person I'll accommodate in my life is somebody who helps me to have my marriage work. Sorry. Sometimes, we allow people in our lives, in our marriages, that are actually the poison that destroys our marriages. And because we've not allowed ourselves, we've not sat and behind our minds accepted that now I'm a married man or a married woman, I do not want to change. So for the sake of other people, I am leaving my marriage. And unaishi ndoa yako for the benefit of other people. Leave your marriage. Live in your marriage and live your marriage for the benefit of yourself, your husband, and your children. Do not benefit anyone else in your marriage. By this I mean that make sure that whatever you do in that marriage is only for the benefit of you people. Usifanye kitu because of somebody else. Some people have lived their marriages, or rather they have remained in their marriages, or rather they're in that marriage and they're doing whatever they're doing in that marriage for the sake of other people. Make sure that your marriage, you are living in your marriage for the sake of your marriage. Do not allow any other person to be part and parcel of your marriage. Do not sit there ukisema ati nafurahisha so and so that you are going to do this you don't care about how your spouse will feel as long as the other person gets happy. No. Know that you are married. Accept that you're married. Believe that you are in marriage. Work out your marriage. Make sure that your marriage gives you joy. Make sure that your marriage gives you happiness, because you are there to stay. So you must be committed to adjust, to change, to make sure that whatever it is that is not benefiting my marriage, I'm going to shed it off. Shed everything that is not part of your marriage's happiness. Anything that does not bring joy in the family. Anything that you know that whenever you do it, it brings sadness. shed that off. It doesn't matter how much you love it. It doesn't matter how much joy it gives you. But as long as it does not bring joy into the whole family, it does not make your spouse happy, wachana nayo. Leave it. So that you're also happy. You know, when your spouse is happy, you're also happy. You know, sometimes I wonder that you can see somebody with a don't care kind of attitude in a marriage. Anasema ati, I don't care how my wife feels. I don't care how my husband. You are not in a marriage, my friend. What you're doing is just gymnastics. Can you get out of gymnastics and get married and sit as a married man and sit as a married woman? That is the only thing that will make you happy. And anytime you look at your marriage as something very special, as something very good, as something that should take you to your destiny, you will be able to work out that marriage, and you will make sure that your marriage works for you. When you work out your marriage, it also gives back. A marriage gives back. When you put a lot of effort to make sure that your marriage works, I can assure you, even the effort you have put will come back to you. Itafika mahali ya kwamba unaangalia unafurahi. Unajua kwamba I've worked for my marriage and now my marriage is giving me in return. Because you will have a place which is safe for your children. You will have a place that gives joy to you. You will have a place that gives a lot of happiness. You utafika mahali unasema kweli, whatever effort I've put in this marriage, it is payback time. Let that time come for the effort you'll have put in it. Don't have that kind of care kind of attitude that makes your marriage not to work. So you must adjust. And number 2, you must give a total love to your marriage. Yani lazima uachilie kila kitu ndani. You must release yourself fully and completely to that marriage. You are not going to give 50-50. Just give 100% of what you are and who you are to this marriage. Make sure that your marriage benefits from you 100%. Yani whatever you are doing, do it yani in such a way that you know that you're doing it to your marriage, and you're giving it to your spouse, you and your children, your generation. Actually, whatever you do in this marriage, it's generational. It is not something that you're just giving it today. And that's the reason why I say it. The reason why we don't achieve intimacy is because of the things we've been taken through in the marriages that we grew up in. And that means that that is the reason why we are not able to achieve the intimacy we are supposed to achieve, because of what somebody ignored to do. And what somebody decided, I don't want to pay the cost. Pay the costs of your marriage, and it shall be generational. As you continue living with your husband or with your spouse, and your children enjoy the environment of this marriage, your generation will also continue enjoying. Because what you are putting in your children, what your children will receive from this marriage, that is what they will give to their generations and their generations. And so I want to say that marriage is generational. So don't think that whatever you are doing to your spouse will end up with him, and whatever you are doing to the other spouse will end up with him. No. Whatever you are putting in this marriage through your spouses will become generational. And that is the reason why so many people are suffering today, because people lacked a generational mind in whatever they were doing. Watu walikuwa wanasema tu I don't care, mtu anafanya kitu hataki kujua nani kesho ita affect nani. But I want to tell you today, as couples, let us do it. Let us purpose to equip our generations to come. Let us make our generations a happy one by making sure that our marriages are happy. When we make our marriages happy, when we sacrifice, when we do things sacrificially in our marriages so that our marriages become, they work, that is exactly what will happen in the generations to come. So I want to tell us that it is very important for us to think about a generation before we mess up our marriages. To think about our grandchildren and great-grandchildren before we mess up our marriages. Let us work and make our marriages work for us. And number 3, let us be purposeful communicators in our marriages. Actually, our intimacy is so much pegged on how we relate in the house. How we relate in the house actually is very, very important. Because so many things get destroyed here by the words we release. And let me tell you that whatever you speak is what is in your heart. You can never say that whatever I'm speaking is not what is in my heart. And that's why the reason why you feel that unapata ya kwamba the words you release to your spouse are not good, are not encouraging. And for that reason, that is exactly a reflection of who you are right inside you. So it is very good to ask God to help us grow our love within us, so that when we release it through communication, through the words we speak, it can always touch our spouses positively. So it is very important to choose I always say to choose our words right. Ni vizuri sana na ni ya muhimu sana. It's very very important for us to be able not only to communicate, but just have an effective communication that will leave a good taste in the mouths of our spouses. Every single day people are suffering. Every single day people are divorcing. Every single day people are fighting. Why are people fighting? Why is it that people are fighting? And the people who are fighting, at some point they were talking about love. Where did this love go to? Where did it disappear to? What happened to this love that somebody said, I love you? What happened to this love that somebody really could not, purported not to be sleeping, purported not to be eating, purported not to be able to rest, because once this person wants to see you? What happens when we start living together? Can we sit and evaluate the words we speak? How do we communicate? What is it that we say to our spouses that makes them to withdraw and feel that we are no longer together and feel that this is not the right kind of a person I wanted to marry? What is it that happens? Almost everything that happens in our families is about communication. Kama ni kumtusi, if you are abusing somebody, it's through the power of the tongue. If it is about, showing that ungratefulness, or rather showing hatred, we do it through the power of the tongue, because it is the words that we speak that makes people to know that we really hate them. Actually, there are some words you can speak to your spouse, anajua kweli mtu ananichukia, and anajua kwamba gets to know that this person really doesn't love me. So it is very important to choose our words. And these words we choose, we cannot choose until we are emotionally stable. We must work on our emotions. We must make sure that whatever it is that we are doing, our emotions are proper. Our emotions are stable. Our emotions are working for us positively. Sometimes, we do not, we have very negative emotions, and we exert a lot of energy on those negative emotions. And when we are exerting that energy, it is breaking the other spouse, or rather it is killing the inside of the other spouse. And you find that sometimes it becomes very difficult for us to heal that which we've already broken through our emotions. And I want to tell us that emotions, let us exert a lot of positive emotions in each other. Let us avoid a lot of negativity, a lot of negative emotions that would break the heart of this other person. So that tomorrow, when you really need this person is not there for you. And sometimes, it goes on and on to generations, and then it just spreads like bushfire to our children. And you find those emotions that you've exerted so negatively to your spouse, it starts spreading towards to your children. And that is how it gets to the third and fourth generation. Today, I want to say that it is very important for us to check on our emotions, check the kind of emotions you release to your spouse, check the kind of emotions you release before your children, check the kind of emotions you release in your environment, so that whoever will spring out of that environment will come out of that environment carrying the very emotions. Those very emotions that you release, those are the emotions to your children, or rather whoever it is that sits under your emotion, under your environment will come out with. The reason why today there is a lot of killings in the marriages, it is because these children who are killing others were not brought up in an emotionally stable society, or rather an emotionally stable environment. And so you find that whatever it is they carried, now they are releasing to whoever they are living with. And finally we see death. But God wants us not to release negative emotions in the family. Family actually, everything comes from a family, be it society, be it even our nation, even the leaders we have up there, they came from families. The reason why we can sit and evaluate and be able to judge some leaders, it is because they came from maybe families that released negative emotions to them. And so you don't expect anything good from them. And so it is very, very important for us to be able to know, as a parent, what kind of emotions are you releasing to your children? As a spouse, what kind of emotions are you releasing to your other spouse? For us to build intimacy, we must check on our emotions. Very, very important. Check on your emotions. Look at the people who are doing all those kind of things. The things we read in the newspapers every day, the things we listen on the TV, the things the media keep on reporting. Until sometimes you don't want to hear what the media is saying because there is a lot of negative emotions exerted somewhere. I want us to be able to check our emotions. You cannot check emotions outside your home if you cannot check your emotions inside your home. For us to be able to live in the society that is balanced with emotions, we must balance our emotions to our own spouses. There is somebody at home whom you can check your emotions with, and that is your spouse. And we shall continue from there. God bless you so much. You can subscribe in my YouTube. Let us